Don't panic, guys. It's okay. I know we're not on a Zoom call. We're actually in the same room. I've seen Hugh's legs for the very first time. I've got to say, they're very, very nice and slender. Let's talk about Arsenal, the North London derby. They head to Spurs here. Let's focus on Arsenal first because, I mean, we sat here at the start of the season after the first 3 games. We went after Arteta. We did say he needed that little bit of time. But now we fast forward to the end of the season and it's been a fantastic season for Arsenal. The remit was there to try and be competitive. But they have done that. And in this game, they could get themselves into the top 4. But I guess the long-term aim will be Arteta taking Arsenal back to being in the top 4 every single season. It's never been more competitive. How likely is that, Hugh? Do you think that's a possibility to do it year after year once European football arrives?
I don't think they'll be consistently a top 4 team over the next 5 years. Can they do it sporadically? Yes, they can. Their squad is inexperienced. It's taken everyone aback this year, the way that they've performed. But I think one of the key things that helped them was the fact that they didn't have European football. I think we've all seen that, haven't we? I don't think he trusts a lot of that squad. He's worked out over a period of time who his favourites are, if you like, the players that he thinks are dependable. And outside of a very small group, maybe 14 or 15 players, I don't think he's got that overarching feeling that they're going to deliver for Arsenal in the years to come.
If you strip back all the factors of, having a week to prepare, which we know that matters, and we've seen that in previous seasons as well, with teams even winning the title. Look at Chelsea a couple of years ago. Do you think that Arsenal are one of the top 4 teams in this country?
As a club, probably. But in terms of the team out there at the moment, investment makes a huge difference. We know that there are clubs not in the top 4 picture at the moment who are going to have huge money to invest in the coming years. They will be competition for Arsenal. They certainly will be. There are teams with money who have spent a lot who have failed miserably. And, it can't go on forever that you spend at a certain level, you try and recruit the best players possible, and that you don't occasionally get to the Champions League. I think the likes of Manchester United will bridge that gap. And I'm not saying they're going to be consistently there every year, but they could keep Arsenal out from doing that consistently.
It's the false economy for me, because I think there's something to be said in that Arsenal might finish 4th, but not have the 4th best squad, not have the 4th best manager. These are all things that you guys can let us know in the comments down below. The thing that I get a bit confused with is I look at that West Ham game and the team that started. I'm confused by the squad in the first 11 and the ceiling of them. And one player that we've got to talk about, Eddie Nketiah, who has come in and done fantastically. He does look different to me. It looks like he's been down the gym a little bit more. He's got a little bit thicker. He was a bit more languid previously. And he's taking his opportunity. The question comes for him and for a lot of these players, if they want to be a top 4 side, is what is his ceiling and what should he do with his future?
Yeah, I think it's helped Nketiah massively that their squad has become more inexperienced.
Yeah.
Because I think he's felt more comfortable in an Arsenal shirt because he hasn't got to live up to more experienced, more successful players around him.
I think you saw the opposite with that with Man United, actually, this year. Ronaldo has had a fantastic season. But when you bring him in, it means that Rashford's not as important. Do you know what I mean? They haven't got that same standing in the squad. So I think that's a great point.
Yeah, that's it. So I think Nketiah coming in this season, I think has felt a little bit more free to play as he wants to. It's almost like his contract was coming to an end, so he had nothing to lose as well.
Yeah.
He was really trying to show the fans that he wanted to stay in an Arsenal shirt and that he was a good enough player to be at the club. I think he has shown that, but I still think he should leave Arsenal for his career. He's 22 years old. He needs to be playing games regularly. I think they need definitely a first choice striker. A team as big as Arsenal needs someone that they can rely on, who is dependable, who has goal scoring experience, who has European experience if they're going to go to the Champions League. And they probably need 2 of them, in my opinion. I'm not sure Nketiah is even going to be that genuine backup for them. He could be in time, but the player that we've got right now, you wouldn't hang your hat on.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think there's a freedom. When we talk about that false economy, I feel the same way about Nketiah a little bit. I think there's a freedom to him. I think we see this all the time when there's a player who's kind of trying to earn that next contract. And I know it's there on the table and he hasn't signed it yet. I just wonder when the pressure comes, and this is going to be the big challenge for Arsenal next year, once the pressure comes, can Nketiah be that first choice striker? If you were him, would you say move on? And if he had the choice, where would you say that he should go?
He's got a lot of options, I think, as an English player and looks like an English goal scorer, record goal scorer for England under 21s. You're going to have options in the current market. there are a number of clubs that he could play for. My favourite, I honestly think that this club should be in for him. I also think it would be a great move for Eddie Nketiah. I know people will think he could maybe play at a higher level, but I think Brighton and Hove Albion under Graham Potter would be a great spot. They create lots of chances. But also, as a young striker, to not have that huge pressure of being at a big club like Arsenal or one of the other big teams in the Premier League, I think that could really help him. Just get on with improving your game, become a regular Premier League starter. He will score, I think, in a Brighton team, 10 to 15 goals in that first season, and then try and push on for the next. I think he's got a good finishing ability. He could really do well there. There are other big clubs, though, that I know that are in for him. I don't know where you'd see him going.
Yeah, I think it's that bracket, isn't it? I initially think, he's the kind of player he goes to, and we always say it, everyone says it, Everton, West Ham. But West Ham are a little bit different to what they were, and Everton is at a club that I'm not sure that I would go to right now. You've also got Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who's going to take that spot as well. I think there's something in a West Ham move for him because he'd be able to make that move, be competitive with Antonio, might not always be the starting striker, but a little bit less competition there, and I think that could be a good move for him.
I think it's the same position he's in at Arsenal.
Possibly.
I think he has to go somewhere where they're going to say, you're our number one striker, at least for the first season or two, possibly two, if he delivers in that first one. But you've got to go into a team. I think West Ham United will want, an experienced seasoned goal scorer. Or, there's talk of people like Darwin Núñez at Benfica, for example. They might go for a 40, 50 million pound player. And then there's pressure on David Moyes to start that player. Nketiah, I think, take his time, maybe out of the limelight a little, develop your game, as I say, become a regular player, regular goal scorer, and then a big move to a team like West Ham United, and who knows where else will be there for him. So next up, I think we should take a look at Tottenham Hotspur, big North London derby, of course, and where they can hurt Arsenal. In particular, I want to talk about some of the big figures in that Tottenham team. Harry Kane, we know, talisman for that team, but Heung-min Son has put up fantastic numbers this season. There is a case for him to be in the conversation for Player of the Year.
Absolutely.
In a way, he's been more important to this Tottenham team this year than Harry Kane. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I would agree with that, And I think the thing is when I think about which player is more important, I think about if you take one of those away. And Harry Kane has incredible quality on the ball, able to drop deep, spray those passes to Son, and it is close. It feels like it's a 60%, 40% if you're making a decision on who is more important, and if you could deal with Harry Kane leaving, looks like it might not happen now with the Haaland move to Man City. But with Son, I think when there's been times when Kane's been injured, and he has been injured, Son is very, very rarely injured. And when it comes to those Champions League games in previous years, when he's had to step into that central role, I think he's just got that little bit more versatility than Harry Kane. And I think Harry Kane needs some of those other players around him. I mean, Harry Kane's outrageous. So it's a very, very difficult pick. But I think if Heung-min Son was English and Harry Kane was from South Korea, I don't think it'd be too much of a discussion, because I think technically he's outrageous. So much pace, which is... a lot of players have pace, but his ability to pair up the both, and in terms of his XG, he's gone miles past his XG in terms of the goals he's scored. So clutch when it matters, because Spurs wouldn't be where they are if he wasn't taking these really important chances that he takes. So I think it's just about Heung-min Son. Do you agree? You're looking at me like
I just think it's all about the relationship between these two. They are the Penn and Teller, the Morecambe and Wise, the Allcot and Woozencroft.
You went to Penn and Teller?
Yeah. The Jay-Z and Beyonce of the Premier League, okay? They need to come together, these two. No, maybe that's a bit too strong. They need to be paired together, let's call it that.
Shotgun Beyonce, by the way. Just carry on.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think it's the relationship between the two of them that makes them so successful.
Yeah.
Actually, you take one of them out of the team, like you mentioned, and the other one can't function as well, in my opinion. There isn't another Tottenham player who can play up front in the way that Harry Kane does and be so successful, even when he's not scoring goals. Left-hand side, you think Steven Bergwijn going to come into the team and do what Heung-min Son does? No, I don't see that happening. So it definitely is about that.
The one question is, right, if you're putting together a squad and you're starting your recruitment, is it easier to find another Son, or is it easier to find another Harry Kane? I'm starting to think, actually, it's probably easier to find another wide forward than it is to find someone like Harry Kane, actually.
Oh, really?
Possibly. How many of those strikers really are out there right now?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. But
Benzema, Lewandowski, Haaland, Kane. I'm sure I'm missing someone, guys. But
how many?
Not many.
Yeah, okay. You think of Luis Diaz at Liverpool and the impact he's made, and you think Heung-min Son, as a left winger there, wide forward, what sort of impact is there? But I actually think the number of goals is really important, because when you look at wide players that score the number of goals that Son scores, there aren't that many. There are really good technical players. There are players that can assist, that can beat their fullback. There are great wide players in football at the moment, but he is in the upper echelon because of the goals that he scores, and there aren't many that deliver that. Now, he scores the same number of goals as a lot of strikers at a lot of teams, and that puts him in the bracket with the best wide forwards in the world. For Tottenham, these two are irreplaceable. I don't think they can replace Harry Kane. I don't think they've got enough money to replace Harry Kane. Heung-min Son, maybe a slightly different story, but again, because of the importance that he has in their team.
So onto the game. I think we've spoken about the key players here, because I think Nketiah for Arsenal is going to be crucial. Saka will be as well in terms of the front end of the pitch. For Spurs, we know it's about those two. Kulusevski important as well. Bentancur in terms of controlling it as well. Højbjerg's been revived with Bentancur alongside him. Spurs need to win this one.
Yeah.
They are at home.
Yeah.
Do they go and win this one? How do you see it playing out?
I think they probably do, because I think they will probably dictate the game. And I put that down to slightly more maturity in their team. They would have had players that have played in more big games simply because of age. They are at home as well. I think they need the impetus in terms of the results. So they will carry the game to Arsenal. And in the end, I think they will have more quality in midfield. I know that sounds strange. I don't think Tottenham have played amazingly well in terms of their midfield players, but you look at the way that they went to Anfield and they were able to keep such a solid structure to their play. I think that's going to be integral, because the game could come down to a mistake here or there. It could come down to that one lack of concentration from a player. And I think Tottenham will just maybe be on it a little bit more than Arsenal. That being said, I still think Arsenal finish fourth in the Premier League. They've built the cushion that I think will take them over the line.
Yeah, snap for me. I think, look, could easily be a draw this one. But actually, I think being at home crowd, it's going to be outrageous. And also some of the players that Arsenal are missing. I mean, Tierney, it's very close with Partey. There's been some talk about him maybe getting back in the side, but he's not going to be completely match ready. I just think that Spurs nick this one, especially with the quality that they've got up top. I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory for Spurs. But I still think Arsenal might get over the line and get Champions League.
Thanks for watching Football Forecast. For more great content, make sure you're subscribed to ESPN UK.